Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Om. Dear friends, we are reading this particular chapter which is talking about Atma Tattva, that is the nature of that Atma and the nature of the Supreme Reality. That is the second chapter of Gita, and we were reading the 24th shloka. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shosyayevacha. We were just reading that shloka. I explained the word sthanu, and while explaining that word sthanu, I also told that story of Ganesha and Kumaraswamy. So that is what that story I told you. Sthanuhu achaloyam sanatana. There are two more words in that. Achalaha ayam sanatana. Achala. Chalna means movement. Achala means there is no movement in this. That means there is something which is infinitely existing always. Infinitely existing. Wherever you go, it is already there. In fact, in that in the Ishavasya Upanishad, there is a particular line. Tad dhavato anyan atyeti tishthat. Tad dhavato anyan atyeti tishthat. That is again, it says, it is there as it is, but then it overtakes all which are running. Suppose you are running and going to a particular place, it is already there. You are going, running and reaching another place, it is already there, which means it is something which is all pervading. And for that particular line only, tad dhavato anyan atyeti only, to explain that story, Kumaraswamy's and Ganesha's story has come. That is what I was telling. Achalaha yam sanatanaha. Sanatana does not mean ancient or old. Sanatana means Sanatana Sadatana, says Amarakosha. Amarakosha, we know that it is a dictionary in Sanskrit. That in fact our people have written dictionary. Probably it is the first dictionary in the whole world because we don't have any such dictionary anywhere in the world. Achaloyam Sanatana is something which is Sadatana, means something which is eternal, that which is beyond time. Then again, the next one more shloka is there, like this, telling about the nature of Atman. That is 25th shloka I will read. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikariyoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam anushochitumarhasi. He says, this Atma which we are talking about is something which is avyakta. Vyakta means that which can be expressed. Avyakta, something which cannot be known by the senses, that which cannot be expressed. Vyaktam. Vyaktam means something which is manifest. Avyakta means something which is not manifest. So you can't talk about it. Something which is not known to the senses. Once it is not known to senses, it is also not known to the mind. Then achintyoyam, because it is not known to senses, it is also not known to the mind. In fact, here that is the reason why one poet has said, a philosopher, let us say, we all go for Tirtha Yatras, we all go to various pilgrim centers. Okay, here we are going to Tirupati today, you are going to some other place tomorrow, you are going to some other place, everywhere you find, okay, here there is a God, here there is a God, here there is a God. We do like that. There is nothing wrong, we have to do that. We have to do that basically for attaining some sort of purity of mind, and we have done our duty. We have gone to some holy place where some great people have done some tapas, etc. That is a nice thing. But thinking that God is there alone is something which is wrong. So yatravashad vyapakata hatate, that poet, that philosopher says, by visiting all these places, saying that I will find God here, I will find God here, I will find God here, I am actually insulting your nature of being all pervading. You are actually all pervading in nature, and I am trying to find you out in one particular small place. Yatravashad vyapakata hatate. Then I am trying to praise you, stotrena. I want to praise you, oh, you are so powerful, you are this, you are that, etc. And all my imagination and all my visualization about your glory is something which is very, very small compared to your real glory. Your real glory or your real nature, I cannot know. We have no means to know. We are only able to visualize some little bit of some small thing. It is like going to the Prime Minister and saying that, oh, you are very, very powerful like our village Sarpanch. So village Sarpanch, I know only my village Sarpanch, and my comprehension is only up to that village Sarpanch. And I go to the Prime Minister and say, yeah, you are very, very powerful like our village Sarpanch. I am actually insulting that gentleman. So like that, stotrena vachah parata hatate. By doing all this stotram and whatnot, I am actually insulting the fact that you are above words. You cannot be described by words. And dhyanena chetah parata hatate. I am trying to think about you, I am trying to meditate, and I am trying to do this and then do some meditation, etc., etc. And I am also insulting the fact that you are beyond this mind also. You are beyond words, you are beyond mind and beyond stotram. So, Shamasva Shambho Trividha Paradha. He said, oh, my dear Lord, if not Shambho, you put Vishnu, I don't mind. Shamasva Shambho or Shamasva Vishnu Trividha Paradha. These three types of aparadhas. Oh, my dear Lord, you please excuse me. So, that is what that philosopher has said. So, something like that, avyaktoyam achintyoyam, it is something which is not known to senses, which is beyond our words. Then avikaryoyam uchyate, avikaryam, vikara means some sort of change or modification. Suppose there is a person who is there or some entity. Suppose there is something here. So this cup is here. I can break it and then I can bring about some change in it. Suppose I break it, naturally its shape changes. Or maybe I take a pen. I can change its shape. I can dismantle it and break it. I can do whatever I want. So vikaryam means that in which some change can be brought about. And change can be brought about only in a thing which is having a particular form. Form means a particular type of shape, a particular type of bodily structure, some limbs, etc. By removing a limb or by changing something, you can make the you can change the shape. But here in infinity, there is no question of any shape. In infinity or ananta, as we call it, there is no particular shape or anything. So that is what is called niravayavi. Niravayavi means where there are no avayavas, where there are no limbs. So there cannot be any change in it. So avikarya ayamuchyate tasmad evam viditvainam nanushochitum arhasi. So Krishna is saying, evam viditva, if you know this, evam viditva, this viditva is again a very key word here in this. There are certain key words in all these shlokas. So if you just get the key word, then you will understand it, you will enjoy it better. So tasmad evam viditva. Viditva, by knowing, you will get out of your sorrow. That means all sorrow is because of not knowing. If you know its real nature, you will get out of your sorrow. That is the beauty of it. That is shoka nivrutti, as we call it, the commentators here have written, that shoka nivrutti or elimination of sorrow is not by doing some vratam, it is not by doing some puja, it is not by doing some tirtha yatra, it is not by doing some yajna or something like that, but it is by knowledge. So knowledge or awareness or understanding is what is removing your sorrow in all matters, okay, not only here in a philosophical sense, but even in routine matters. Suppose I go to my office and I know the situation, the whole overall ambience in a much better way. I know the personalities, I know what is the philosophy of that say institution, let us say. If I know the whole philosophy, the ambience and the way the people are working, I can do much better. So that means my understanding has solved, it has removed any type of tension or anxiety. Otherwise, I will be having a lot of anxiety or tension. So it applies to Vedanta also, it applies to Atma Jnanam also. So that is the reason why Vedanta says there is a particular sentence called Dukkham Nama Prajnaparadhayeva. Dukkham, if somebody is having some sort of sorrow, if you are having some sorrow, you are feeling miserable, etc., etc., it is some wrong understanding only. It is due to prajnaparadham. Prajna means intelligence. Prajnaparadham means wrong understanding. All sorrow is due to wrong understanding. So that is what, of course, you can say question, okay, something bad has happened to me. How is it that you say that it is all prajnaparadham? So there again, we have to take a philosophical view there. Again, philosophy says, that is not something which is, it is something which is a temporal thing, a very totally temporary thing. And you think in a slightly higher sense. Philosophy is talking in a slightly higher sense. So, tasmad evam viditva, once you know the real nature of Atma, you will not grieve for all these things. Otherwise, if you do not know, you will continue to grieve, you will be forever grieving and grieving. So, nanushochitum arhasi, repeatedly he is saying nanushochitum arhasi, because Krishna is somebody who does not like anybody crying. The next shloka also he is saying nanushochitum arhasi. So the next shloka says, up to this point, we read this 25th shloka. Up to this 25th shloka, from 11 to 25, we have heard some very, very abstract things. There is something which is eternal, consciousness, this, that, etc., all pervading, and Nitya, Sarvagata, Sthanu, etc., etc., all these things we have heard. One important thing we have to see there is that what we call Atma, Krishna is talking with reference to a Jiva, with reference to Bhishma, Drona, Krupa, everybody. Not only Bhishma, Drona, Krupa, right down to an ant, right down to a mosquito. All these things are Jivas. And what is this Atma? Atma is something like a sunlight. Atma is not something which is a soul which is transmigrating from one body to another body. Atma is like sunlight. Sunlight which is falling and illuminating all the objects around. So just like sunlight illumines all the objects around, so similarly this Atma or eternal, that universal, that consciousness, all pervading consciousness is something which is illumining my intellect, which is illumining your intellect, which is also illumining the intellect of a mosquito or an ant. So that is how this Atma is understood. Atma is not something which is confined to the body. It is not something which is in the body. Body is in Atma or consciousness. Consciousness is not in the body. So that is the point which we have to see. So, and also another point we have to see is that all the adjectives or attributes which are given to Brahma or that supreme reality are used for Atma also. Again and again the same adjectives are used both for Atma and also for Brahma to say that Atma is the same as Brahma. You are not different from that. The whatever, like part space, example of part space I was telling you yesterday, there is a part, and once the part is broken, the space in the part is not different from the outside space. Even when the part is there, space in the part is not different from outside space. So here, up to this point, 11 to 25, Krishna was telling certain very, very abstract things at a bigger level. And now he is having a doubt. In spite of all these things, he sees that Arjuna still is not very, very convinced. So that is what he is saying. Atha chainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mrutam tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitumarhasi. He says, Athacha. Athacha is somewhat like saying, in spite of all my telling, in spite of my telling all these things about what is Atma, etc., it is its eternal nature, how it is not affected by all these five elements, how it is beyond time, etc., etc., all these things I told you. In spite of all this, if you think that Atma is something which is going to die, Athacha enam atmanam, this particular Atma, if you think that this is something which is nitya jatam means which is again and again, which is being born, again and again it is dying. If you think, okay, for a moment I will also accept your point of view. It is called abhyupagama. Abhyupagama means, suppose the other man is not able to understand something, I will say, okay, I will accept your point of view for a while, and then from that point of view also I will discuss or debate. So that is approach of Krishna. So athachainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mrutam. That is again you are thinking that it is being born again and again and it is dying again and again. That is the loka drushti also. So the next few shlokas, the next 4-5 shlokas, Krishna is saying from what is called loka drushti. Loka drushti means general point of view, what everybody accepts. There is no dispute about it. You and I, everybody, common man, says yes, a person is born, dies, etc., etc. It is something which is accepted by all. So, nityam va manyase mrutam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitum arhasi. Even then, oh my dear Mahabaho again is very significant. That is, you are a mighty armed man. You are a mighty armed man. Your arms are not for show. All your shoulders, mighty shoulders, they are not for show. You have to do your dharma. Naivam shochitum arhasi. So, this in spite of all the telling, because there were some schools, there were in olden days, when Lord Krishna is saying this, or when sage Vyasa wrote this Mahabharata, at that time there were several schools of philosophy. When Krishna is saying this, or when Vyasa, in other words, when Vyasa is writing all this, he is also answering to various schools of philosophy. At that time there was one school called Mimamsa. Again, they are very great people, no doubt, very great people. But then they are more interested, they are not interested in what is the supreme reality, what is called moksham, etc., liberation. that is oneness with that realization of oneness with that supreme. They are not interested in that. They are interested in karma. They are interested in yajna, yaga, etc., etc. They are interested in what is called the heavenly worlds. So such people. So Arjuna, not only Arjuna, even today we are all at that level only. Most of the society, it is at that level. Most of the society, we always do some karma. Every day we try to acquire some punyam. So because of, okay, with that punyam, okay, I am going to have some better life. So that is our view. So from that loka drushti, Krishna is saying actually, tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shoshitum arhasi. Again he is saying, you should not cry, don't cry. So then the next sloka again he says, loka drushya, again loka drushya, from the point of view of everybody, loka drushti as we say. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः. This is something which we see every day. Everybody accepts it. There is no dispute. That is jatasya. For anything which is born, there is an end. Whatever is born, take whether it is animate or inanimate, sentient or insentient as we say. Suppose that there is an inanimate thing like this. This was not there a few years ago. If I break it today itself, right now it will break. After some time it will break. Maybe after a few years it will break. So jatasya, whatever it is, and a human being and all other animals, every day we are seeing jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh. Mrityu is something which is dhruva. Dhruva means which is very, very certain. Then dhruvam janma mrutasya cha. And janma, again rebirth is something which again is very, very certain for anything which is which dies. So there are 2 points in this particular line. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh, that is everything which is born will die. There is no dispute about it. Everybody accepts it. But for the second portion, some people do not accept. Dhruvam janma mritasya cha, again something is born. Some religions they do not accept. For example, the Western religions, up to 6th century or so, they were also accepting. Maybe they revised their books sometime in 6th century, and then from 6th century onwards, they stopped saying that, they stopped believing in, they stopped talking about punarjanma. So they say that a soul is born, and once the soul is created by God, that soul is there eternally till the point of, what is that point of that doomsday? Till that doomsday, it is there languishing somewhere. After the fall of the body, it is there in some place. So dhruvam janma mrutasya cha, in our case, in Indian philosophy, if we see, there is a school called Charvaka, that is an Astikavada. Charvaka means charu vakti. Charu means beautifully. Charvaka means you are just physically seeing and enjoying. Okay, you are now there existing, tomorrow you will not be there, enjoy today. So that is the Charvaka philosophy. So the Charvakas, etc., they do not accept, and other Nastikas. But all other schools, even Buddhists, though Buddha did not reject God, Buddha really did not reject God. Buddha was only silent about God. Buddha did not say there is no God. Many people, we have a feeling that Buddha rejected God. He did not reject. Buddha was only silent. So, but he accepted what is called Punarjanma. Jains accept Punarjanma. Sardar Sikhs, they accepted Punarjanma. All the Indian religions, they do accept the Charvaka. All other people, they do accept this Punarjanma. And I told you that half the humanity, all the Asian countries, they do accept what is called this Punarjanma. So, Dhruvam Janma Mrutasya cha, I told you the reason also. The logical way of explaining is that the human body, as we see, not only human body but any body, there is what is called the subtle body. And that subtle body, the most important component is the mind. And so long as the mind is there, rebirth is very much there. And that is the reason why all the Vedanta says you neutralize that mind. You just neutralize that mind or ego. Once that ego has merged in that universal self, that is the reason why they say soham, soham. Till the time aham, that aham is there, that I. Once I realize that this I is no longer there, whatever is the social identity which is given to me, this social identity, it is no longer there, it is no longer valid. It may be there just for others to look on, for the purpose of identity card or for purpose of Aadhaar card or for purpose of a passport or whatever it is. But my real identity is something else. Soham, I am that infinite thing. So when I say that Soham, my limited identity is gone, it has merged in that supreme identity. So that is what Vedanta says. You have to close your ego, you have to eliminate your ego, you have to eliminate your mind. That is the reason why there is so many things which are told again. Karma, Dhyana Yoga, Atma Sanyama Yoga, all those things are being told for that thing only. So here, Dhruvam Janma Mritasya Cha, when we say like that, the reason why we are talking about rebirth is only this, because so long as the mind is there, rebirth is very much there. So that is the point. We will continue tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.